So we cap the week, our spiritual day, the Shabbat, the day of ultimate mindfulness, comes only after what we've built up during the week in the way of cautious mindfulness.
Go to our website, which is HebrewLearningCircles.org. Go to Jewish Resources, scroll down to Parsha Videos, and you'll find the source sheet right there.
It's Parashat Tezhaveh. And with the Izhbitzer, details of preparation for worship in the tabernacle. We are learning about the fashion, the clothing, the outfit of the Kohanim, of the priests. And often when we read a lot of lists of technical details, sometimes they're fascinating, it gets into details of shapes and colors, and if you're oriented that way, so it may be pleasing, but often it can also be tedious and boring. But the Izhbitzer points out that there's something hiding behind the details, and we're going to jump into some of those today. The book of Exodus, chapter 28, verse 4. Ve'ele habgadim asher ya'asu. And these are the outfit that they will make. Choshen ve'efod u'me'il. And that is the breastplate, the vest, ephod, and the robe, me'il. Uchtonet tashbetz, and a fringed tunic, mitznefet ve'avnet, a headdress and a sash, v'su vigdei kodesh le'aharon achicha, and you shall make these sacred vestments for your brother Aaron, ulvanav ulechanoli, and for his sons to wear during the time that they are performing the priestly services. And the Izhbitzer asks, why are the first three clothing items mentioned? And those are the breastplate, the vest, and parenthetically, the sky blue robe. It was a completely blue robe. Why those? Why are those three mentioned first? What do these represent spiritually? Do they, in their essence, have some kind of meaning that's beyond just the fashion statement that they're making, or maybe the practical function that they serve? Why are the pants and the head frontlet? There's a little from the hat. There's a little pendant that hung over it was a golden pendant. So why are the pants and the frontlet not mentioned in this first verse? And what is the hidden message in both the revealed parts and the withheld parts? That is the frontlet and the pants of this sentence. Let me remind us that there is a source sheet that's available on our website. Ve'ele habgadim asher yasu choshen ve'efod u'me'il. And he quotes just that part of the verse, and these are the items of clothing that you shall create: the breastplate, the vest, and the robe. Be'elu habgadim mareh Hashem yitbarach liYisrael be'eze nefesh hu bocher. With these garments, the blessed God is demonstrating to us, or to them, to the people of Israel, the quality of the person that God had chosen. And this is the qualities, it represents the quality of the Kohanim, of Aaron, the high priest, and his sons. כי מהבגדים יוכר ומובן העיקרות הנמצא בתוך נפש אהרון הכהן. As from these garments, the preciousness that is in the soul of Aaron the priest is demonstrated and represented. So first of all, there's a very sweet concept, that there's something about the outfit that is indicating, representing inner qualities. I think that's true in life in general. Often we dress, our dress is often reflecting the internal processes or mood or state of mind that's in us. And sometimes it's the opposite. Sometimes it's there to hide the state of mind within us. But anyway, the point is that there is a connection. Hatzitz meramez alav ki hu davuk b'Hashem yitbarach. Now it's interesting because it goes right to the frontlet, which is actually not in this verse. So what he's going to do later is he's going to show that the contrast, the fact that the tzitz was not mentioned, is actually significant. So sometimes we learn from what's there, but sometimes we learn from what's absent. And he's starting with what's absent in this verse. Later on in the chapter, all the other details are mentioned, including the frontlet. So the frontlet hints, alav ki hu davuk b'Hashem yitbarach, shows that the high priest is always attached, always mindful of the blessed God. How do we know that? Because it should be always on the priest's forehead, meaning top of mind, right? So that shows that God is top of mind for the high priest always. ועל הציץ היה נחקק קודש לאדוני. And on this frontlet, which is kind of like a pendant, they engraved sacred verse, which he's going to bring in a moment. היינו בעומק מחשבתו היה תמיד, meaning that that comes to show that that God was in his mind always. He was mindful of the cosmic power of the ultimate presence. And he brings a verse from Chronicles 1, chapter 29, verse 9. It says, Da et Elokei avicha, which says, be mindful of the God of your forefathers. So that verse that says, be mindful, and this is actually, in Chronicles, it's quoting King Solomon, who's a mystic, and part of his teaching was about mindfulness of God. And the verse says, be mindful, and that the pendant represents continual mindfulness. והחושן מרמז עליו כי לא נמצא בליבו שנאה לשום נפש מישראל. And the breastplate, what does that teach us? What's the hidden message in that? That in Aaron's heart, there is no conflict with no person in Israel. Because the breastplate had the names of all 12 tribes, and they were always on his heart. That means that he's always loving everybody in Israel. He's the ultimate in the love of Israel. Ve'ephod, the vest, שהחגור בו הוא מרמז על ביטחונו בהשם יתברך, שהוא תומכו תמיד. So the vest is he's girded with it. That means the vest by design is a dress that's tight on the body, right? It's buttoned up or maybe laced up, and it's tight on the body, and it holds the body, kind of supports the body tight. That's the nature of a vest. And this teaches us about Aaron's complete trust in the blessed God, Hashem Yitbarach, Shu Tomcho Tamid, which is Aaron's support always, eternal support. So that being held, that being squeezed in and girded by the vest is this trust that we're always held and always supported by the ultimate. Umeil more al godel irato. And the robe teaches us about the great extent of Aaron's awe of God, awe of fear. I'm going to choose to translate that as awe. Ki haya kulo mitchelet shemerumaz al ira. How do we know that? Because the robe was all blue, sky blue, and the color sky blue represents awe of God, awe of the heavens. And why? It's intuitive, actually. Why? Because the heavens are blue, right? So we look up in the sky, especially if you put yourself in the shoes of our forefathers, right? Then you'll get a sense that it's much more intuitive to think of, to be awe of the heavens, right? We have control of 5 out of the 6 dimensions. So this is north, south, east, west, ground, and heaven. We have contact, we have control over, our forefathers, over the 5 dimensions. The 6th dimension, heaven, is beyond us. And we have reverence for it, right? We have no reach, we have no control. Rather, according to the biblical theology, it has control over us. So the blue sky represents the awe and humbleness in relation to the heaven. And now he says, and now, what do we learn from the fact that the pants and the frontlet are not mentioned? The pants, מכנסיים לא נאמרו, כי לא היו נחשבים למלבוש. Pants were not mentioned because they were not considered a garment. I'm going to skip here a little bit because we're not so interested in the pants for now, and go to betzitzit lo ne'emar, and also the frontlet was not mentioned. Derech ma'amar Zohar Kadosh. And this is, as we learn from the Zohar, and it says, Matzcha dereuta, eimat idgalei, bish'ata detzluta de Shabbat b'mincha. So he says, the brilliance of the divine, when is it available, revealed? During the time of the afternoon prayers of Shabbat. This is in contrast to the afternoon prayer during the day. Afternoon prayer during the day is rather the time when the dinim are present. That is a time when we take account of the difficulties of life, or the dinim, the challenges. We're aware of, and we pray for success with getting over our troubles, right? That's a weekday afternoon prayer is, God, I'm in the middle of my job, and my job is so extremely challenging, and please, save me, help me, right? Hopefully that's not every day, but those are the mundane concerns. But on the Shabbat afternoon, it's the complete opposite. That is a time when we pray and connect with the energy of complete abundance, of eternal abundance. That is our time to actually step out of the constrictions of the workday and connect with the chasadim, with the energies that are complete benevolence. And so what the Zohar is telling us, that on Saturday afternoon, that is when that brilliance, that mindfulness, remember we talked about the pendant being representative of this complete mindfulness of the eternal all the time. And the Zohar is telling us that is exactly what is available on Shabbat afternoon, during the prayers of Shabbat afternoon. And since the frontlet was given to Aaron the priest, because he had great awe of God. And remember that now he's mentioning the tzitz after we talked about the robe, which represents awe. Aaron was the ultimate of the awe of the heavens. And he'll elaborate, Ki b'chol shevet Levi nimtza ira'ah. Not only Aaron, but the whole tribe of Levi, which Aaron is one family or one clan in the tribe of Levi, their essence is the awe of heavens. In fact, the whole tribe is dedicated to the service of God. As it says in Malachi, V'etnam lo morah, v'yoter b'chohen hagadol, and I gave them fear of God or awe of God, and even more so to the high priest. Magam ki shmo moreh al yirah, and furthermore, Aaron's name points to awe of God, and he will do the gematria, the numerical value of the name Aaron is 256. And this represents the 256 wings of the ministering angels, and the ministering angels represent also perfect awe of God. They're always at the service of God, according to tradition. V'neged ha'irah ha'gedolah nitan lo hatzitz la'achayot ule'aneg et nafsho. Now listen to this. He says, to balance out, to match this great awe, Aaron gets the frontlet to enliven and delight his soul. So with all this fear, all this awe, all this, there's like an intensity, the frontlet comes to represent the blissfulness and the aliveness, like divine spiritual blissfulness and aliveness, to delight his soul, to balance out all that energy of awe. Because the frontlet represents the love, the divine love that flows towards Israel, God's love for Israel. And when the blessed God reveals the enormity of the abundance of her love, then all fear, all awe dissolves away, disappears. And what's left is amazing strength for Israel. There's something about this love that is empowering, that gives power to Israel. And by the way, when he says Israel, you can hear it as the people Israel, the nation Israel, but you can also hear it as to each individual in Israel, right? To the Israelite, to the person who's in this process called Israel. ולכן קודם שנאמר עשיית המעיל, and that's why until the making of the robe, לא היה יכול להיאמר עשיית הציץ. The frontlet could not have been mentioned. Why? Why do we need to wait for the mention or for the actual production of the robe before even mentioning the frontlet? כי בגודל תקופות יכול חס חלילה לצמוח לו קלות ראש. Because the extent, the intensity of this strength that comes from the spiritual love, God forbid a person could come to being casual about it. Kalut rosh means lightheaded, literally, but it means mindless or neglectful or casual spiritually. But after the robe is mentioned, the robe that represents Shemoreh Alirah, that represents awe, then one can mention the creation of the frontlet. As the Zohar says, and we're going back to that verse, remember? Bish'ata de mincha, at the time of the afternoon prayer of Shabbat, shu achar godel ha'ira, that comes after the enormity of awe during the week, right? Shabbat follows the week, right? So we cap the week, our spiritual day, the Shabbat, the day of ultimate mindfulness, comes only after what we've built up during the week in the way of cautious mindfulness, or working through to come to the place of humility, to come to the place of appropriate presence, of egoless presence, kind of on Shabbat, mitgale matzcha dereuta, the brilliance of the divine is then revealed, meaning hainu godel tkufot, meaning with great empowerment. We have 3 pieces of garment that are mentioned first, and 2 that are absent. So the 3 that are the breastplate and the vest and the robe actually teach us about love, trust, and awe. Love, trust, and awe. Right? Those are the conditions, those are the prerequisites for what has really no relevance, is actually rather dangerous instead of helpful, which would be then the opening of the channel of the eternal flow of God's love towards us, and that is represented by the pendant, which can only be put in place after love, trust, and awe. Love for Israel, meaning horizontal love, love between Israel and towards Israel, meaning love between human beings. Only when we master love and trust and awe, then our forehead, the top channel can be opened, and God's love, the eternal love, can come in and empower us. So what does this mean to you? How does this touch you? Please leave comments below. And I want to offer a blessing to all of us that the love, the interpersonal love between people is really the place to start the work, right? The breastplate, right? And it's such a challenge right now, especially I'm coming to you from Israel, where there's so much conflict, so much division, so much tension, and it's so challenging to find a place where both Israelis can meet one another and get beyond divisions and into a place of grace and communication, and also obviously us and our cousins. So we should be blessed to really manage that, master that, so we can be then merit true spiritual revelation and opening. We should also be blessed. See you next week. Shalom for now.
And, click subscribe button. Doesn't cost you anything. We really appreciate that. Like to have that extra layer of connection with you. Like and subscribe. Come back.
Mayim rabim lo yuchlu